and the time has come. So we could start with the first item.
The Commissioner now take up the matter to do with minutes for meetings from the meeting from July 9th, and also we have minutes for meeting of July 23rd.
Move approval of both.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Minutes approved.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Krieger, did you say no?
No, I said yea and nay, and there were no nays, so they're approved unanimously.
Thank you. Okay. With respect to application for special one-day license to sell dispensed wines only, I believe that should be amended, but I'll leave that to the applicant. Elizabeth Kegley of the Merrimack Repertory Theater for MRT performance at Liberty Hall, 50 East Merrimack Street, August 26th through the August 27th, 28th, and 29th, and 30th of August. And then there are a number of dates in September, starting with September 2nd through and inclusive of September 20th. There's a total of 20 dates. This would be for concession sales and service 45 minutes prior to the performances scheduled for those particular dates. And I believe the applicant will request the board to amend its application for beer and wine as opposed to just wine only.
Yes, please state your name and your address clearly.
Elizabeth Kegley, 61 Market Street, Lowell.
Thank you. So you want to amend this?
I do. I pulled the wrong application from our file, so we sell both beer and wine at concessions.
Let's see. All right. Anybody have any questions?
Move approval. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commission now take up applications for special one-day license to sell dispensed malt beverages, wine only, or either one, starting with Margaret Mokoro for the memorial service, Friday, August 21st, 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. at UTEC, 34 Hurd Street. Tracy Martino of Aramark at the Bellegarde Boathouse, 500 Pawtucket Boulevard for the Greek Alumni Reunion on Saturday, August 22nd, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. And Gabby Davis, representing the nonprofit organization Made in Lowell. It's a cafe, UTEC, for 41 Warren Street. There's an opening wine dinner for the Lowell Food and Wine Festival for Thursday, September 10th, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Also, Gabby Davis for Made in Lowell. The Forest Lounge at Mill Number 5, 250 Jackson Street, 4th floor. The opening reception for the Lowell Food and Wine Festival for Thursday, September 10th, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Gabby Davis, Made in Lowell for Kerouac Park, Bridge Street, the Food Truck Madness, also during the Lowell Food and Wine Festival for Friday, September 11th, from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And Gabby Davis, Made in Lowell for the Mill City Grows, Urban Farm, Middlesex Street Farm to Table Dinner, Lowell Food and Wine Festival for Saturday, September 12th, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Those are applications for beer and wine only. And if I may just proceed with the next applications that Gabby Davis has also filed for all alcoholic beverages. Again, representing Made in Lowell for Middle and Palmer Streets, the grand tasting for the Lowell Food and Wine Festival, Saturday, September 12th, from 12 noon to 6 p.m., as well as Gabby Davis for the UTEC Cafe, 41 Warren Street, Sips and Sweets, TLFWF, for Saturday, September 12th, 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Would each of you please clearly state your name and address?
Margaret Mokoro, 16 Freedom Way, Lowell, Mass.
Tracy Martino, 300 Martin Luther King Jr. Way.
Gabby Davis, Made in Lowell is located at 250 Jackson Street. My physical address is 67 Tanglewood Drive in Dracut.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I have a question myself. Anybody? Okey doke. Ms. Davis, do you have the license for Kerouac Park? Have
For
you
the Border
gotten it?
Parks,
For Kerouac Park, yes.
we have we sent in the facility request for the Border Parks just this week.
Okay, so you don't have it yet.
No, I do not believe we have it yet.
And you're going to be on the street for Middle and Palmer Streets?
Yes.
And have you talked to the police about that?
Yes, we have spoke to the police and the fire department. It has been approved by them. We will be turning in the application for the street closing permit tomorrow.
Okay. So our approval, assuming we approve, is dependent on you getting the other approvals.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody?
Ms. McCorrell? Have you held a license before?
No.
Okay, are you aware of the implications and what to do if there's an issue?
Yes, I am.
What would that be?
I read the chapter 138, I'm not supposed to serve to minors. Yeah, and if anybody showed up who was a little, they're not supposed to be served.
And if you have any issues, you know to call the police right
The
away?
police, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And what's the memorial service for?
It's for my dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also understand that you have to buy beverages from an approved distributor?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move approval?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Thank you very much, ladies.
Good luck.
Commission will now take up matters to do with application for special events permit for amplification of sound for outdoor public entertainment. Eric Sack of the Lowell Southeast Asian Water Festival, sound system for live music, public address, and disc jockey for Saturday, August 15th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Heritage Samples Pavilion, Pawtucket Boulevard. And Suzanne Cromwell of Lowell Film Collaborative, film screening with amplification for outdoor film screening free community event for Thursday, August 27th, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the North Common Amphitheater, Father Sorrento's Way.
Please state your name and address.
Yes, I'm Suzanne Cromwell, and my address is 119 Thoreau Way in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Mr. Sack is
Is
not
Eric
present.
Sack here?
He was out in the lobby, but I saw him earlier.
While we're waiting for Mr. Sack to make his appearance, you understand our concern is that we don't want to hear it in our houses.
That's correct, yes, sir. Yep, we understand that by 10 o'clock everything should be wrapped up.
What's the film you're showing?
We are showing Iron Man. It's a action film that's good for the kids and the families in the area.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Anybody else have questions?
Will it be popcorn?
Yes, there will. Free popcorn
Excellent.
and snow cones. Free snow cones.
I move approval.
Free, free, free.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Thank
Just
you.
remember, you're in charge. Don't let anybody push
Popcorn
you
and snow
around.
cones. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Mr. Nguyen,
I want to apologize to the board. Quite frankly, I had spoken with Mr. Sack. He was here in the meeting, and I gave him an opportunity, and I'm surprised he walked out on this. Okay, I apologize to the board. I will be in contact with him first thing in the morning. He should have stayed. I asked him to stay, but I'm not sure what's going on, but I apologize.
all right.
No problem.
So,
Move on then.
thank you. Does the board wish to continue that matter for,
Yes. I'll take a motion.
unfortunately, I have to tell the board that the event itself is for August 15th. I'm really upset. Quite honestly, I'm very upset with the fact that he walked out.
I'll second your motion, Mr. Chair.
Okey-doke. All in favor of continuing, say aye. All opposed? It's continued. Number 6.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Is Mina Muscala here? Okay. Again, Mr. Chairman, I have to apologize to the board. The gentleman for this matter to do with the sidewalk stand license, he missed the meeting on the License Commission on July 23rd. I spoke with him, and Mr. Muscala, who is the owner and operator of the business called Market Street Market, the corporate name is Cyrus Enterprises, Inc., 95 Market Street, was approved for a sidewalk stand permit on July 23rd for the Folk Festival weekend. I did speak with him, and the following day, which was Friday the 24th, he assured me that he would come to the meeting this evening, and of course, he's not here. I apologize to the board. It's kind of frustrating this moment, but he did have his license, he did have his permit. I don't have any way of knowing if everything worked out satisfactory for that weekend, but
Well, apparently there was nothing to show in the newspaper, so the next time he comes before us for something, he can explain himself. We're ready to move on.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7 on the meeting agenda, Commission will now open a public hearing on the application by 1350 Middlesex LLC, doing business as Angelina 2, Jasper Sane manager, for a malt beverages and wine only package store license for premises at 1350 Middlesex Street, a one-level convenience store at 1,600 square feet. It is requested that Jasper Sane be approved as manager of record for the 1350 Middlesex LLC.
Please state your names and your addresses clearly.
Jasbir Singh Sani, 57 River Street, Arlington, Mass. 02474.
Good evening, Mayor. Please the commission. My name is Attorney Joseph Edwards with offices in Haverhill and Lawrence, Massachusetts. I represent the applicant.
Okay. Would you like to give us a quick rundown on the applicant and what he intends to do?
I gladly will. Mr. Saney is a resident of Arlington. He and his another member of the LLC recently purchased the property at 1350 Middlesex Street, where they plan on extensive renovations to have a convenience store, which is surrounded by 40 parking spaces. It is also adjacent to a restaurant that the LLC is very familiar with, which is known as Angelina's 2. It's pizza and sandwiches served on the premises and a large takeout business. Mr. Saney intends on having at least 2 employees in the store. He's, prior to the issuance of any license, he has pledged to take the TIPS exam and be himself and any employees TIPS certified. The hours of operation for the convenience store will be from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., and he knows quite well that the hours of the sale of alcohol do not start as early as 6 a.m., and they will not naturally sell alcohol other than from times allowed by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the city of Lowell. They will have a camera system installed which will film not only the goings-on within the store, but also the exterior of the store, showing things on the sidewalk, parking lot, et cetera, which has been in the past, from my experience, a big assistance to public safety. Many times there have been situations in other locations throughout the Merrimack Valley wherein the police were able to finish an investigation because of something that was set forth from exterior cameras. So they will have a fine exterior as well as interior camera system. The computer system will have a scanning system to scan the driver's license or identification license of any and all, and I repeat that, any and all people that are there, customers to buy alcohol, regardless of the looks. They told me they would ask me for an ID if I went in, and I'm like borderline whether I'm old enough or not. However, additionally, there's a different type of system available now wherein if someone purchases alcohol, cigarettes, lottery, etc., the computer will tell them to check the ID. So that's a double backup for checking visibly checking the IDs. This is, of course, something that is safe for the public as well as the convenience, and the city of Lowell. It's very good to them. Another member of the LLC is here tonight. She's Minu Saini, and she's the sister-in-law of Mr. Jasbir Saini that's here. She has many years of experience as a clerk in a full liquor license store in the city of Haverhill. Mr. Saini has 7 years of retail experience as well as many, many years in the food industry, restaurant business. And in his 7 years of experience in the retail business, he has not had any issues whatsoever with checks, IDs, cigarette sales, etc. So therefore, Commissioners, we are hoping that we can answer any and all of your questions. I'm sure that we can, and that at the conclusion of our presentation and your questions, that the license will be approved.
I'm not quite clear on the relationship with Angelina 2. Angelina 2 is a little restaurant of sorts, and there's the convenience store, or are they together?
No, they're not. There's a wall, there's a separate entrances, exits, etc. They're attached to each other.
Is it same owner? Is it Angelina is a restaurant, Angelina 2, we bought that lot and we're putting a convenience store over there.
But there will be no doorway between the restaurant and the convenience store.
Okay,
Go
so
out onto the sidewalk
who-
and back in.
Does Angelina 2 sell wine, beer, alcohol of any kind?
Angelina's 2 will be the applicant that we're here for now. Angelina's is the pizza store. No, they do not
Oh, I'm
sell.
sorry, Angelina's is the
Yeah,
pizza place.
that's okay. I'm confused by it myself. However, Angelina's does not have a restaurant alcohol license, no beer, no wine, etc. And I'm not sure what the city of Lowell has, but I'm assuming, as in many other cities and towns, that there's no bring your own, and they will never allow that bring your own into the restaurant.
No bottle bills, no bottle clubs in Massachusetts. Have to go to Texas. Anybody have any questions? So this is a public hearing, so is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor? In favor? Anyone in favor? All right, that part is closed. Would anyone like to speak in opposition? Opposition? Opposition. And that part of the public hearing is closed.
I would move approval.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Congratulations. I would say be sure to card your own mother. We are very strong on this issue. But I wish you the very best of luck in your enterprise, you and your sister-in-law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Thank you, Mr. Nguyen.
Good luck.
Commissioner now take up item number 8 of the meeting agenda. With respect to an application, this is for a public hearing on an application by the entity known as Phoebe Star Restaurant and Lounge LLC, Thai Duc Ninh manager, for the transfer of the all-alcoholic beverages restaurant license from the LLC known as MA Restaurant LLC for premises at 602, 608 Merrimack Street. There being one unnumbered door east side and west side, first floor, one room for restaurant, kitchen and office, basement for storage. There is a sidewalk seating area in front of 602, 608 Merrimack Street. It is requested that Thai Duc Ninh be approved as the manager of record for Phoebe Star Restaurant and Lounge. Phoebe Star Restaurant has also applied for a license for entertainment in a licensed restaurant for live music, soloist, band, disc jockey, and jukebox.
Would you please introduce yourselves with your name and your address?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My full name is Thai Duc Ninh, and the address is 602 Merrimack Street, Lowell, MA 01854.
You don't need your zip code, sir.
Patrick Wood, representing the applicant. And with us tonight, but not really part of the proceedings, is the applicant's wife, and Najan. So I ask you to sit down. As you know, we were here back some months ago with for approval for a common vicular's license, which was approved, and we said we'd be back for an application for the transfer of the restaurant license, all alcoholic, and the outside seating license. It's now been since that time, 4 or 5 months, and the restaurant is open and has been running successfully without the liquor license. Business is slow, of course, not having such a license, but they've gone through the startup, setup, and learning experience of running a restaurant. Let's see. They have, or my client has taken the appropriate courses in serving alcohol, the health department. He's been approved by the health department and the fire department, and we're up and running. And now seek the transfer of the license from the previous restaurant, a May restaurant, who had filed last year for the transfer of the license, but didn't happen until this year, a lot because of some renovations and a tough winter on getting with the snow, and things kind of went off track a little bit time-wise. But we're now ready to move forward and hopefully get the license, and with my client being the manager. If the board has any questions or further explanations, I'll be more than happy to see what we can do about answering them.
So, Mr. Nguyen, this is actually two different things, isn't it? One is the transfer of the license, or is it three? One is the appointment of the manager, and the third is the entertainment license. Is that right?
Correct. If I may just kind of remind the commission that in March of 2015, Attorney Wood and the gentleman, Ty, the principal in the Phoebe Star LLC, he came before the board requesting a license for common victular. It had already been a done deal when it pertained to the prior licensee as far as a transfer. The business actually was sold at the end of the calendar year 2014, thereabouts, and there was no application at that time for transfer of license. The prior licensee, MA Restaurant, gentleman by name of Tu, had renewed the license in November 2014. He essentially closed the business by the end of December 2014. He had already made a sale of the business to the board, the gentleman stands before you now, Ty. That deal had been consummated. Ty proceeded to have the premises refurbished. He received a certificate of inspection, certificate of inspection from the Office of Developmental Services, signed off by the building commissioner, by the fire chief. He has health inspection. It wasn't until March that he actually came before you for the common vittler's license. In the interim, there was understanding that there would be no sale or service of alcohol beverages until a transfer application was filed for the License Commission to act upon, and subsequent to any local board approval, the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. Attorney Edwards, in recent weeks, resubmitted some papers, the application, revised the application, clarified some issues to do with the financing of the purchase and sale agreement that had taken place, obtained a most recent certificate of good standing from the Department of Revenue as it pertains to MA Restaurant Inc., LLC, I should say. I just want the board to be aware that I have not checked with the City of Lowell Treasurer as to make sure that everything is satisfactory with the local taxes. I assume there may be no problem, but I can't make that certainty with the board at this time. I want Attorney Wood to be aware of that will be something I will need to look at first thing in the morning. I'm sorry that I didn't bring that to your attention ahead of time.
I have every reason to believe the taxes are paid. We're a tenant in the location, but it's a well-known landlord who's owned the property for...
And that would also pertain to personal property tax?
Right.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I think that's the summation of it. Yes, the applicant is now looking for the transfer. The license is still in... there was no action taken by the License Commission to cancel out that license. Had not been issued to date. Any license to be issued for the alcohol beverages would require a license fee to be paid to the City of Lowell. That was not taken care of by the prior licensee. Generally, no license is issued until there's compliance and there is issuance of licenses on payment of license fee, of course. So those are things that would need to be addressed at a later date, subject to the License Commission's action tonight, favorable, and the ABC's approval. So that could be several weeks. It could be, hopefully, not too long. I know we're coming to the end of the calendar year, and it's that'll be soon upon us when the renewals.
I understand. Okay, so one more question, Mr. Nguyen. With regard to the sidewalk seating, doesn't that have to be approved by the city
Thank you.
council?
I'll bring that to my attention. Yes. When MA Restaurant had the license in 2014, it applied for the sidewalk seating as part of its licensed premises. At that time, the License Commission approved it, and it took some time for the ABC to finally approve it. There was some tax issue relating to the Department of Unemployment Assistance, but it was approved. And subsequent to that, I believe MA Restaurant entered into a lease license agreement with the City of Lowell. This is something that the City Council has to authorize the city manager to enter into, and this would be required of this applicant, Fovey Star. And I spoke with Attorney Wood about that. He's aware that subject to the license being transferred, they'll proceed with the next step to get the city's license to utilize the sidewalk. The description itself remains on as part of the licensed premises, but until that license with the city has been obtained, they would not be able to utilize that space as far as seating customers outside.
Okay.
We would not anticipate any sidewalk this year, it'd be next summer.
But that needs to be clear.
Oh,
It has
yeah,
to go to
we're
city
well
council.
aware of that. We have to get an easement from the city to use the sidewalk.
Thank you.
We're aware of that.
Anybody have anything before we go to the public hearing?
Nope. Thank you, not before.
Public hearing, anyone wish to speak in favor? In favor? In favor, that part of the meeting is closed. Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Opposition? Opposition, that part of the meeting is closed.
Do we have 3 votes here, Mr. Chairman?
We do. We're going to vote approval. We're going to vote for the transfer, for the manager, and for the entertainment. We can take them one at a time or all 3 together.
I make a motion that we approve all 3 of them together.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so it's approved. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Best of luck.
Good luck
Yeah.
now.
thank you.
You're welcome.
It will require the ABC's approval as well before you can
Yeah.
start selling and serving alcohol.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I'll be talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Commission will now proceed with number 9 on the meeting agenda. A hearing continued from the date of July 9th for the licensee known as Prathna, Inc., doing business as Prathna's Convenience Store. Peter P. Sam, manager, a malt beverage and wine only package store licensee at 408 Suffolk Street, on the allegation of misconduct as charged by William M. Taylor, the Superintendent of Police, for violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, for the illegal retail sale of alcohol beverages to a person under the age of 21 years.
Would you please introduce yourselves and your address?
Good evening, Attorney Catherine Flood, 549 Rogers Street, Lowell, and with me is Peter Sam, manager of Pronta Inc.
Do you want the charges read into the record?
No, we don't need to.
Would you like to tell us about it?
Sure. Well, as I stated, Peter Sam is the manager. He has had the license for approximately 2 years, about 1.5 to 2 years. In that time period, he has never had a violation. It's a family-run business. His wife works there every day. At night, they have 2 employees. There's always 2 employees who work the night shift. Based on the police report, it appears that they did talk to the employee of Pronta Inc. the night of the incident. He was a new hire. He has been trained. He was trained by Peter's wife. He is also going to take the course to become tip certified. They have signs at the store showing that, they card people under the age of 21. They also have a born-on-date calendar at the register, which they use and they flip daily. And their motto is to card anyone who comes into the store. I think it was just an oversight. The new employee got a little overwhelmed that night and failed to card.
Captain Webb, do you have any additional insights on this?
No, Mr. Commissioner. The facts of this incident were that on June 4th of this year, Sergeant Noonan and Detective Lavoie of the Special Investigations Section were conducting compliance checks at various licensed establishments. At 8:05 p.m. that night, a 19-year-old male operative was sent into the Prathna Convenience Store and purchased a 6-pack of Bud Light beer from the male clerk. And Detective Noon and Sergeant Noon and Detective Lavoie entered the store afterwards and identified the clerk as Sevuth Mam. And Sergeant Noonan and Detective Lavoy are here tonight if you'd like to hear from them.
Sergeant? We appreciate you taking the time to come.
No problem. Good evening. Basically, what Captain Webb said is true. We were conducting compliance checks that evening. We did 15 stores in the city that sell alcohol, beer and wine. We sent a 19-year-old operative into all the stores. We had 2 violations that night, and one of them was the Pratna convenience store.
Well, did you judge the store to be fairly busy?
Yeah, it's a very busy store. It's located on Suffolk and Suffolk Street and Salem Street. It's a very busy area. There's housing development next to it. It's in the downtown Merrimack, Market Street, Upper Market Street area. It's very busy, and we watched the store for a few minutes prior to that, and we did notice a lot of traffic going in and out of the store.
So it's possible the new clerk could have been overwhelmed by the circumstances.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement.
Ms. Flood? Any questions?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody?
On the record, do we have anything against this store in the past?
No, as Attorney Flood noted, there was not been a prior.
The clerk that was working, you said that he's going to take the TIPS certified class. Is he registered for that, or does he have a timeline on that?
Peter, you're going to sign him up for it?
Yeah, we're going to sign up
You're going to do an
after
online
this
course?
session, yeah.
Okay, so he isn't signed up as of yet?
Nope.
Yes.
So we have the signs are all up now and everything's going well? Everybody's
Yes.
well-trained?
Yes.
Do you plan on having the other employees TIP certified as well? Or are they currently at this point?
I'm going to sign up after this session.
Okay.
So tonight, if you want a copy, I can provide a copy within a few days, just for your record. Would that be?
Yeah. So my experience in life has been that when you have a new person, you supervise them fairly closely. Was someone supervising this new person to make sure over several days that they were following the proper routine? That just slipped through?
It did. That day was actually my client's birthday, and he was not on site that night. He was out to dinner with his family.
What were you thinking? That'll teach you. Yeah.
You call me at like 3 o'clock, dinner time. My birthday gift. Thank God.
No violation. So he wasn't present on the premises that night, and his wife did in fact train and does oversee the employees as well as Peter.
This is not a good thing. Anybody have any thoughts on how we deal with this?
I would like to make a motion that we put this on file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes, but I'd like you to know that a second event will not be dealt with lightly.
Forget those birthday parties.
Yeah.
I will rectify that issue, yes.
And the importance of supervisors supervising. Even if it's just a little bit of difference between the employee and the supervisor has to supervise. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you, officers. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, before carrying on to the next item on the agenda, just revisit one matter to do with an application for an amplification permit. Mr. Eric Sack has returned to the board meeting, and I want to introduce him as the applicant for the Southeast Asian Water Festival amplification sound permit, special event permit. That is the sound system for live music, public address, disc jockeys for Saturday, August 15th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Heritage Campus Pavilion, Pawtucket Boulevard.
Would you please clearly state your name and your address?
My name's Eric Sack. I live at 200 Market Street.
You got lost in our building.
I'm sorry. It went quicker than I thought I would, and I got a phone call that lasted longer than I thought I would, and I apologize to the board.
We appreciate your apology. All right, sound system for live music at the Samples Pavilion for Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Have you ever had this license before?
Yeah, I've been on the board of the Water Festival, I want to say 7 years, and I've been the one applying for it since then. We haven't had any issues or complaints with the level of sound.
Okay, anybody?
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Mr. Sack, go forward and do a good job.
Good luck.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Carrying on with the next item of the agenda, we have number 10, the License Commission review of activity of licensees during the Lowell Folk Festival weekend. That would be the dates of July 24th, 25th, and 26th. Several emails that I received from members of the commission, Commissioner Krieger, Commissioner Dakota, regarding interest in what may have transpired over the weekend of the Folk Festival downtown, particularly those particular businesses that had been granted and issued licenses to sell and serve alcohol beverages and special events permits for amplification of sound. I proceeded to communicate with the superintendent of police, requesting if there would be any information the board may need to be made aware of in anticipation of anything in the future. And the superintendent was very kind to forward a communication dated August 4th, outlining some of the businesses, most of whom were no events, nothing of concern, incidents, that there were several items that were brought to the board's attention by way of superintendent's communication. I'm not sure if Captain Webb wants to highlight that, or does the board want a reading of it, or just?
I found it interesting that the one event that went over on time with its entertainment was one using headphones so nobody could hear the sound. But I'm sure the detail took care of that well. And that was good. We did have a complaint about what place? Was it the Blue Shamrock being too loud?
Oh, yes, thank you. There was a resident in the downtown area who sent an e-gov message to the office, to my attention, with respect to that particular, singling out that particular night, but a subsequent email from the resident points out that that would not have been the only time that the Blue Shamrock, with its outdoor seating arrangement, has amplification that's, in the opinion of this resident, and I've heard no other complaint, but taking the resident's complaint is, it's certainly valid, excessive sound, excessive noise. It sounded to me from the communication, it reads to me from the communication that it's been an ongoing problem. May not affect certain people, may not affect people the same way, but if it's just one, that's probably more than the board would want to have happen, affect.
Exactly. So, Captain Webb, the superintendent indicated in his letter that you had not found a problem there with the Blue Shamrock. I do wonder, do you have an app? Do the police that are patrolling downtown, do they have an app for their phone that can measure sound? I've got one, I know, on my phone.
I'm not aware of anyone having any apps like that, although that would be a good idea for them to get that. But we do have 2 sound meters at the police station that are available to the patrol officers anytime there's a question of this nature.
The other thing was that Mr. Wynn's letter asked if anybody had noticed the licenses actually posted where they were easy to see. I walked down Merrimack Street and straight a little bit to the left and right Friday night and I can't remember one other night or Sunday afternoon. I did not notice anybody displaying a license. But you say that the police actually had the licenses so they could make sure that people were conforming to their licenses.
Yes, I spoke to the supervisors on duty both nights about this question, and while they did not make an actual inspection to make sure the licenses were posted, they did have copies of all the licenses that were issued to the supervisors in the police department operations plan. So they were able to look up and make sure that all of the venues were properly licensed.
Anybody else have anything?
Captain, I got here, it says Mill City Ballroom. 30-year-old female reported that she was a victim of an assault and battery at the Mill City Ballroom on July 25th at 5 a.m.?
Yes, a young lady came into the police station shortly after 5 a.m. and reported that there had been an incident there. It's currently under investigation, and I would assume that a request for enforcement action will be forwarded to you in a timely manner.
Thank you. And I see the Blue Shamrock had two events there, right? They had two fights. Was that correct? They had...
Yeah, there was a fight on the 25th, I believe the first evening. Shortly after 1 a.m., 5 officers had to respond to that, and the staff at the Shamrock cooperated with them and closed the establishment at that time to avoid any further trouble.
Okay.
On the 26th, at about 12:30 a.m., an officer who was on duty as part of the folk festival detail saw a fight break out in the outside seating area, and he intervened, and an arrest was made, and the officer was injured while making the arrest.
Thank you.
The officer's okay?
Yes, he will
Good.
recover.
That's good. All right, so it appears to me that for next year, we may need to put some emphasis on people displaying their licenses. I understand that Mr. Marchand will make that part of the pamphlet for the operation next year?
As far as the display of the...
Yes.
Yes, as a matter of fact, he did, as you may, board may be well aware, is that it was part of his information packet this year. In dealing with certain business owners, I can say from firsthand experience, it takes constant reminder of what's expected of them, or at least what they ought to do when they have licenses and permits readily available, displayed. And so, again, it will be a point to be made, not now, but just next year as well.
If it's the rule, it's the rule. Anybody else have anything? All right. Thank you for your input, Captain Webb, and I guess we'll roll this along to 11 months from now and look at it again.
And last, we have number 11 on the agenda, is just to note to the board's licensee, Crystal Arnott of the Lowell Humane Society, had been approved for a license for beer and wine for an event benefit the Lowell Humane Society. It was approved on May 21st. It was the event to be held on August 14th. She, earlier this week, communicated to the office that due to circumstances beyond the Humane Society's control, they had to cancel the event. So asked that the board cancel that license, which is license number 85 SP 2015.
Do we have to refund any kind of a fee or anything?
I'm sorry.
Do we have to refund any kind of a fee?
There was no fee paid. In fact, she hadn't come by to pick up the license. In fact, she was anticipating, I suppose, waiting till the
They reschedule.
scheduled date.
Perfect.
So,
Make a motion, we revoke the license?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to adjourn?
Seconded?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.